Bristol, Connecticut. David Lloyd, Nicole Briscoe. That was incredible. Not just this game, the entire tournament.
Yes, but I'd say this was the denouement, right?
The nail biting, the tension, all of it.
It had it all. It had all the drama, all the emotion, all the controversy between the two nations.
Yep.
And now it is over. Let's go through what happened tonight at TD Garden. The U.S. and Canada, the Four Nations Face-Off Championship. Pick it up with just over 3 minutes to go in the first. U.S. already down 1-0. Auston Matthews off the boards. Brady Tkachuk punches it home. He's been dealing with an illness all week. Seems like he's everywhere on the ice and just flutters past Jordan Binnington to tie the game at 1 apiece. The U.S. then tacks on another goal to make it 2-1, but Canada's Mitch Marner to Sam Bennett, and we're tied again at 2. Bennett top shelf past Connor Hellebuck, and then a scoreless third, giving us overtime. Sure, why not? Auston Matthews, shot saved by Jordan Binnington. And then Brady Tkachuk again sniping away. Tough angle, but Binnington there with the glove save. He was excellent all game. Took a lot of heat when he was named Canada's goalie. He stood tall tonight. Matthews, another great chance. The U.S. outshot Canada 15-9 in overtime, but Binnington turned them away time and again. Under 12 minutes left in OT. Now Canada on the attack. Mitch Marner gonna get it, finds Connor McDavid right there in the middle, and that is that. Top shelf, perfect placement by McDavid. Nothing Hellebuck could do about it, and Canada beats the U.S. in overtime. 3-2, your final. Probably the best player in the world, Connor McDavid, beating Connor Hellebuck, and that puts an end to the inaugural Four Nations face-off. You see the looks. There's the trophy. Sidney Crosby serenades across the ice as Canada wins in overtime.
It was Connor McDavid who said he played awful all night until very suddenly he did not. Ray Ferraro was on the call and he joins us now. Look, the U.S., they came out and they did everything they needed to do to start overtime. They were ferocious, but it was Jordan Binnington who had all of the answers. What did you see from him in overtime?
I saw the answer to every question that Canada had about their goaltending. Coming into the tournament, it was perceived that Canada had the weakest goaltending of the four teams, that the United States had the strongest. Jordan Binnington has always played well in big moments. The knock is that he will give up a goal that you don't like. A weak goal. He gave up a few of those in the tournament, yet John Cooper stayed with him through the tournament. And when it got to the championship game, he was excellent through 3 periods, brilliant in the overtime. There's a lot of Canadians that owe Jordan Binnington an apology because they didn't want him to be anywhere near the starting spot in the Canadian net. He was fantastic, and the only reason Connor McDavid scores is because Binnington robbed Auston Matthews 3 times from point-blank range in overtime.
I heard you say so many times tonight that the Canadian team needed to free Connor McDavid, get him in the game, get him free, and see what he can do in open ice. And then you got the game-winning goal from him. What did you see on that one?
So much in our sport in hockey is you try to change the point of attack. You move the puck from one side of the ice to the other, and you do it enough times, eventually somebody will break down. That's the hope. The puck went around the boards off the face-off as McDavid chipped it around the boards. And when Makar shot it around the boards to Marner, you can see all of the U.S. players turn to where the puck is. As they're all looking at Marner, they leave the one guy that you can't leave alone, and you leave him alone in the most dangerous spot in the ice, and that's 20 feet in front of Connor Hellebuck. And McDavid, by his own admission, didn't have a great night. The last half of the game, he was much better, and when money was on, he doesn't make a mistake, and Canada is the champions.
Look, there's part of me who's like, this is it. I'm excited for the second half of the NHL season, but I'm a little bummed that this tournament is over. You know, there's been a lot of talk about hockey. There's been a lot of excitement. And from your perspective, I mean, obviously you've done Stanley Cup final games, and now you've done this tournament. The energy, the atmosphere, how do the two compare?
They don't compare because the thought of playing for your country trumps everything. Now, of course, the Stanley Cup is what players grow up and dream about because international hockey seems to be a pipe dream, or is a pipe dream really, for most of the players. Unless you're the best of the best, you don't get to play in international games. What this means going forward is new people are exposed to the game. my wife, who is a great U.S. hockey player, Cami Granato, she talks about in 1980 when the U.S. team won at Lake Placid, it inspired a whole generation of players, boys and girls, to play the game. And they owed their love to the game from seeing an inspiring moment. I think that the Four Nations captured people like they weren't expecting. I don't think any of us thought this tournament was going to be as great as it was. And really, the fact of the matter is, this has been 10 days of a brilliant spectacle for our sport.
It really could be a remarkable turning point as well. Ray, thank you so much. We'll see you the second half of the season.
You bet. Good night.
Let's send it out to Brady Tkachuk after the game.
This sucks. I thought this team deserved more. And we had chances there to finish it off. And this has been my favorite hockey memories, just playing for this team, playing with this group, and this is going to give us a nice motivation for a year's time.
Can you describe the feeling when you scored that goal and just looked up into the crowd and gave that big roar out?
I mean, this has been these atmospheres in Montreal, being the enemy there, but being here and not getting the cheers that I usually get when we play here, and I mean, it was just an unbelievable experience. This whole week has just been such a memorable one, and something that I've learned so much personally, and just to be a part of this group and this team and be a part of USA Hockey has been better than I expected.
Okay, somber American locker room there. They were so close, so often in overtime. Again, they got 15 shots on Jordan Bennington.
But also, I think you saw the looks on their faces when that goal went in, that just the absolute disappointment. This meant a ton to them. And I know the winning goal meant a ton to this guy. We welcome in the Four Nation Tournament MVP. It's Nathan MacKinnon. Thank you so much for joining us. I mean, for you, overtime, high stakes. You watched that puck go in for the game winner. Like, what did you see? What did you feel?
Yeah, pure excitement. Obviously, it's a quick tournament. They threw this together year and a half ago, but it means a lot to us. It's high stakes. Obviously, the best players in the world going at it, so it was a lot of fun.
Hey, Nathan, we saw the game Saturday night with all the fighting off the top and all the emotion, the booing of the national anthem, all of that stuff, and the Americans won that game. How did that motivate you guys? What did you talk about afterwards that sort of got you inspired for this one?
Yeah, I think we played well. That was a crazy game. Obviously, we didn't know there was going to be fighting like that. I think that's the beauty of hockey. But yeah, tonight could have went either way. They had a lot of good chances, and our goalie made some unreal saves, Binner, and Connor came up clutch there, and awesome goal.
One of the things also that changed between that game and this one, you didn't have Cale Makar the last time you played. You had him in the lineup again tonight. How much of a difference maker was he?
Yeah, I mean, he's the best defenseman in the world, arguably one of the best players in the world, or the best player in the world. So whenever you're missing him, it's tough. But, we got him back the last two games, and we're undefeated with him in the lineup. And, I don't think that's a coincidence.
Hey, I wanted to ask you about just getting to play with Sidney Crosby, one of the all-time greats in this tournament. I know you work out with him in the off-season. What was it like just to be able to play with the guy who had the golden goal back in 2010 and be on the ice with him in this tournament?
Yeah, it's amazing. I mean, he was my childhood hero, obviously. Big fan, and one of my close friends now. So amazing to play with him. Obviously still doing it. Still one of the best players in this league at 37. So it's amazing to see his longevity, and definitely very grateful to play with him.
There was sort of a moment there where it felt like a changing of the guard in some way, giving it from, Sidney Crosby over to Connor McDavid. Do you guys feel that at all in the locker room?
I don't know. I mean, obviously, we all think Connor's the best player in the league, but we're just all happy. We're all, very close teammates in this tournament. We came together very quickly, so, we're just thinking about enjoying this moment together.
How are you going to enjoy the moment? What's the plan for the celebration, Nathan?
A lot of beers, a lot of beers, so got to get back in there with the guys.
Davey, I'm a little disappointed. Your attire tonight is very standard. It's almost boring by your standards.
Where's your fur coat?
Yeah.
I went red, white, and blue. These guys didn't get any memos, not even Canada's colors.
I got my poppy on.
But speaking of Canada, can you see, the hockey gods, they dropped the Canadian flag like over Messier's shoulder. Like it's perfect. It's amazing.
Timing. It's all about timing.
That's not green screen. Like that's actually there. The only thing would be better if we put it between you and PK. Subban unfortunately picked the U.S. to win. I'm sorry your pick didn't work out for you.
I'm sorry your country lost. I'm sorry, dude.
Here is the celebration. This is going on right now.
How's that make you feel, Leaves? How does it make you feel?
I admire them.
And I think that's American champagne, too,
Yep.
that's being sprayed everywhere. I don't think that's Canadian.
We've got a new cup, a Four Nations face-off. And so the story of the game will be Connor McDavid. And his reward after this, he'll have a good time tonight. The Oilers start on a 5-game road trip. That back-to-back in Philly and Washington. So there's your break. I mean, it's right back at it. But in a best-on-best tournament, the best player in the world wins it for Canada.
Well, there's a huge sacrifice for the players to do that. They wanted to play best on best, and to do that during the regular season, they knew coming out of this, they're right back to the NHL, which is who's paying them. So, I mean, I think they all knew what was coming. McDavid tonight was interesting game for him. For the first 2 periods there, it was not the Connor McDavid that we're used to seeing. He couldn't seem to get the puck.
And he said it. He admitted that.
In areas that we normally see him. And I think, obviously, it had to do with the great defense and the attention that the U.S. was giving McDavid. But for some reason, the best players always find a way to make great plays happen, like Crosby did in 2010, like Henderson did in 1972. We keep going back. And you could just see he didn't have his best game tonight for a lot of reasons. But whatever it was, he never stopped working. And here he finds himself the most dangerous player on the planet, all alone between the hash marks with nobody around him. And he makes no mistake. That was a laser to the top corner. What a goal by McDavid. What timely goal for McDavid for Canada. And they can go and celebrate their hard-earned win because that was a great, great, great U.S. hockey team that Canada beat in this tournament.
Well, I got another nickname for him. There's been McJesus, and we got all these names for him.
Yeah.
McDemon, because he just went full McDemon mode. When he put this in the back of the net, look at this right here, Mess. You don't think he wants to play for his country? You don't think he's happy to play there?
Yeah.
I don't need to hear what they need to say. The actions speak louder than words. And, we know Eminem. That's Mike McQuaid. The triple M is McDavid, MacKinnon, and Makar. And we spoke about them today that all 3 guys were going to be the engine for Canada. And if they were going to win, those guys had to show up. Well, Makar, I don't know how many minutes he played, but he was out there every shift, making plays, stabilized the defense. This is the best defense that we've seen from Canada. Even though they gave up a little bit more, they still were a little bit better. They were solid in their own zone. U.S. had their chances. Yes, they're a great team. This is the other point. Connor McDavid, this is the best team he's ever played against in his life. He's never played against a better team than that. Which team?
Yeah, no
so
question.
everybody's playing against
That's a great point.
Yeah,
That's
it's the best team he's ever
PK.
played against. So, yeah, it's going to be tough. But I told you in the third, I said Canada only needs 1 shot to do it. And if you want one guy to take the shot, it's Connor McDavid.
The Americans got 5 shots in the overtime.
15.
Right. I mean, just, if you only see the overtime goal, Connor McDavid kind of expected Canada wins, but then you're not getting the full story. In the overtime, the Americans dominated, and really we all agreed the MVP of the game, maybe the tournament, should have been Jordan Binnington.
I picked at the 10-minute mark my favorite MVPs of the tournament, and it was either goalie who won the tournament.
Yes.
And sure enough, Binnington comes up unbelievably large for Canada in overtime.
What a save.
This is a kind of goaltending that you need to win championships there. And both these guys, neither of them flinched all tournament long. All the pressure with Hellebuck coming in as the best goaltender in the world there, hasn't had a great success in the playoffs. He was a rock for U.S. in this tournament. Binnington, a Stanley Cup winner, some question mark what Canada's goaltending coming in. The management backed him, the players backed him. They all knew he could play at this level. And sure enough, what does he do all tournament long? He just does exactly what he did tonight. When it mattered most, he was there to make the saves. What a performance by Binnington. And I tell you what, you can pick all the MVPs you want, but if the goalie doesn't play like that, Canada's not winning.
Think about the 2 games, PK. Game 7, Stanley Cup final with the Blues. He beats the Bruins here, gives up just 1 goal.
Right.
And then Binnington tonight is what we think is the MVP of the tournament.
Well, listen, when overtime starts and the lights go down and then they turn back on, your star's got to come out. and they got to make big plays in those moments.
Yeah.
Jordan Binnington has won a Stanley Cup. He's not shaken by this moment, and you could see that. That was evident. 15 shots in overtime, 4 or 5 point blank, grade A scoring chances. That's what a Stanley Cup champion looks like in net. So for all the goaltenders watching, it's not good enough just to make the saves. You got to make them when they matter.
Right.
And that's what makes you the best. And Jordan Binnington right now is the best goaltender in this tournament, and he was tonight. And that's why right now,
Good for him.
which goaltender are you picking over him?
Yep, good for him. What is the Tkachuk takeaway? It felt like the Tkachuk family had dominated the entire Four Nations. And then in the end tonight, I mean, Brady was just a monster, all-world in this game. And Matthew didn't play the third period or overtime. Clearly hurt himself the other night.
Well, I think the takeaway for the Tkachuk family is that those two brothers are amazing U.S. hockey players. They galvanized this team emotionally. They were unbelievably on the ice. It was unfortunate that Matthew got hurt because he's such a wrecking ball down low. He's such an effective player on the power play, although there wasn't a lot of power plays. But he just adds so much skill, size, determination, all the things that you'd want in a hockey player. But the thing that they had the opportunity to do in this tournament was be recognized like the 1980 team and the 1996 team, and they weren't quite able to do it. And that's going to sting them for a long time, because I think to a man, the Tkachuks and everybody else in that U.S. locker room felt they were a good enough team. They played well enough to win this tournament, but they didn't, and that's going to really sting not only the Tkachuk brothers, but everybody in USA hockey, because like I keep saying there, that was a strong, strong, strong team that Canada beat.
Let's stay with the USA hockey theme, because if the USA would have won tonight, I had it written down. I was going to ask you guys, has the USA surpassed Canada as the hockey superpower? And not just at the professional level, World Juniors, all those kinds of things. We've sort of discussed it amongst ourselves. You're shaking your head, so there's my answer.
They got a long way to go to surpass Canada internationally.
Yeah.
And I'm not saying they're not there yet. I don't think you could look at these two teams and say one was better than the other, one was more talented than the other, one country is has a more depth in their players than the other. To me, they're very evenly matched there, but Canada has got a stranglehold on that. And again, they found a way to win the hockey game. And in the end, the only thing that matters is if you won or lost, and Canada won today.
100%. I agree with everything Mess just said. I don't have anything to add.
I hate that.
It is what it is.
With each other.
It is what it is.
As we send it back to Nicole and David, I will leave you with this one thought. The Americans did not get a single power play. Not one power play the whole game.
That's on you, Reeves. That's on you.
That's how flawless
Canada
Canada
work hard
was.
to create those opportunities.
Great discipline by Team Canada to win it all.
In the same row.
Mike, Brady was just saying that this is a feeling that he's going to remember for the next year until he gets to Milan. I mean, this group really came together really quickly, starting with that team dinner in Montreal. How much are you looking forward to just seeing the growth here the next year of these players to get back on the ice?
Yeah, they were a great group to coach. It was an incredible honor to coach these guys. There's a lot of familiarity and relationships that these guys have, from whether it's playing at the National Development Program, or a lot of these guys have played together in international play, even though they might play on separate teams in the NHL. We could tell early on as a coaching staff that these guys really enjoyed being around one another, and I think that chemistry carried on to the ice. So we've talked to them from day one. I shared this with you guys, that we felt one of the biggest challenges in tournaments like this is to become a team, and I thought they did an incredible job. You have to accept roles that maybe you're not accustomed to playing when you put a group of players like this together. To a man, every guy brought so much professionalism, was willing to play any sort of role to try to help the team win. Couldn't be more proud of this group. And I thought, just to be around them, you could feel how much they cared, not only about performance but also about one another.
Right side, fourth row.
Mike, hey, Bill from NHL.com. Can you talk about Austin's game tonight, and is there something you learned about him, coaching him in these couple games?
Yeah, I thought this was Austin's best. he's just a dynamic player. You know, I've said the last couple of days, just when people have asked me about him, the thing that I think has jumped out at me the most is his 200-foot game. You know, his commitment to play defense, play away from the puck. You know, he has a mature game. He has a game that's conducive to winning, and he has elite talent. And so, you know, he has a quiet confidence about him and how he leads. He's not a rah-rah guy, but I think his presence influences the group. It was really a pleasure from my standpoint to get to know him personally, because I didn't really know him very well up until this experience, and to be around him and to get to know him was a lot of fun for me. He's a great kid. He's a terrific hockey player, and it sure was fun to be around him.
I'm super proud of this group. I thought, you know, we battled our hearts out the whole tournament tonight. You know, we had the opportunities to attend it. Didn't happen, but you know, I couldn't be prouder of this group. I thought the whole tournament, everybody gave 100%.
What did it mean to go through this experience and share it with the guys in this room?
It meant a lot. Meant a lot. I mean, it's an honor to wear this jersey and represent our country. Obviously, a lot of familiar faces, guys that have played with each other in the past. So it's definitely a special honor, something that we definitely don't take for granted.
Was the fact that Matthew Tkachuk did not play most of this game. He's obviously dealing with an injury. What have you learned about what is going on?
Yeah, I can't give you the specifics, and Coach Mike Sullivan did not provide an official update after the game. But based on what I saw and based off what I know, I would not be surprised if Matthew Tkachuk did miss a little bit of time for the Panthers out of the break. His general manager for the Panthers, Bill Zito, is part of this Team USA management staff. So he was on board with all of the medical decisions. And I know one of the reasons Bill Zito mortgaged the entire future of his franchise to get Matthew Tkachuk is because he's such a gamer, and he knew he would show up in a game like this. So the coaching staff told me in the middle of the game that he was still going to come back in a limited role. I think that if they'd gotten a power play in the third period, you would have seen him out there. But I was watching him on a bench, and again, why Mike Sullivan told me in the middle of the game is like one of the heartbeats of this team, is the heartbeat of the team. He was the best cheerleader for everyone. He was standing up. He was going back and forth, talking to guys. That's who Matthew Tkachuk is. And I was watching as they were singing "O Canada" and the Canadians were celebrating. He was just sitting there with a look of disgust. And I know that this is going to be motivation for him, especially heading into Milan.
Like his brother also said, this is going to be a good chip on our shoulder for many years to come. Emily Kaplan, always a pleasure. We'll see you soon.